Hello everyone, my name is Chanel Riggle. Welcome to another Meet the Speaker video interview. I'm really excited to introduce MJ. She is going to be one of our 24 speakers at the Mental Health and Motherhood Summit. You can attend that online October 10th and 11th this year. Thank you so much for being here. And I would love, MJ, if you could give us an idea of what you're going to be talking about and also who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so delighted to be here and just delighted to have stumbled across you and the summit and my own postpartum and Substack haze. That was a wonderful resource for me in like the chaos of social media, trying to stay off Instagram after the birth of my second. I really dove into Substack and the algorithm favored me in that moment and shared your content with me. And I found the summit through that and the speakers from last year. And it's just been a really wonderful resource. So I'm so delighted to be able to give back to it and be a part of it this year. I'm a private practice therapist. I'm what's called a licensed professional counselor in the state of Virginia and in the District of Columbia. I currently practice outside of my home during virtual counseling, mostly for women across the perinatal spectrum, with a special heart for women trying to conceive, going through infertility, miscarriage, stillbirth, and infant loss, as well as that process of fertility treatment and the postpartum experience. I tend to work a lot with women experiencing postpartum OCD, postpartum anxiety, or postpartum depression. But my practice is also filled with lots of women across the spectrum navigating things like chronic illness, grief, and difficult life experiences. But what I was so excited to bring to the summit in particular was this concept called DMER, which is dysphoric milk ejaculation reflex, which very few people have heard of. And most people who have heard of it are women who have experienced it. And it's a really underserved topic that can impact quite a few women and really change the course of your breastfeeding experience and your postpartum experience. So I wanted to give a little spotlight on that. If I was able to be a part of the summit and I filled out that application, I think my daughter was like 2 weeks old. And I was like, God, I got to get this out there. So I was very excited to
I was super
see
excited.
that call out.
Love it. I was super excited to get your application. There were a couple that specifically stood out to me when I was going through all of the applications. I was very overwhelmed by the responses.
Imagine.
Like last year, I think I had 15 people submit applications, and this year I had closer to like 38. And it was
like pour our hearts into them.
But you were one of the ones that I was like, immediately, yes. Yay. I'm super excited because I also did not hear about this topic.
Yeah.
However, when I was reading your description of it in your application, wow. Like, I definitely know that, just immediately know that my mental health was greatly impacted by my breastfeeding journey, by trying to pump, all of the stuff that comes with that. And I remember crying while I'm nursing, trying to explain to my husband, you just don't understand the emotional and physical impact that this is having on me, because I didn't have any vocabulary.
No. Yeah, and it's so hard because it's just sometimes that simple piece of getting the language, it like unlocks so much healing. Like, oh, at least I can describe what's happening to myself and to other people. Even if nothing about the experience changes, sometimes that alone is enough to propel us into a more balanced psychological state. So I'm so passionate about talking about. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering if you could briefly tell our listeners what this is.
Yeah.
I know that might be difficult, just to give them some understanding.
Little elevator pitch for DMER. Yeah. So DMER is an experience that women can have during breastfeeding. Usually it starts from the moment of breastfeeding initiation. Most women, once they've learned what DMER is, can identify experiencing DMER, even from their first few days in the hospital, though sometimes it takes a couple of days to emerge. And it's a reaction to the letdown process of breastfeeding. So breastfeeding has a natural life cycle, right? There's this process is initiated every time you breastfeed. That is a dyad experience between you and your baby. Your baby stimulates your breast sends signals to your brain, which sends signals to your pituitary gland, which reacts in the breast to release milk. This is a hormone-mediated process. And some women, you hear it described like breastfeeding is almost like euphoric. It's very calming. They find it extremely connective. If you have DMER, it's usually quite the opposite. For whatever reason, your experience of that hormone-mediated process is quite uncomfortable. Women describe it as sudden rage, shame, homesickness, nostalgia, and also a physiological sensation of wanting to crawl out of one's skin. Some people describe it like a pit in their stomach, even sometimes like a sweatiness or just general unease. And what's unique about it is it usually only lasts the actual DMER experience itself for the duration of that letdown, which is usually anywhere from 30 to 90 seconds. What has a longer tail is our reaction to that experience. So that DMER experience is contained in that hormone-mediated process. And then what can happen is all of the stuff we layer on top of it. Why am I feeling this way? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me and my baby? Why isn't it happening for me like it happens for other women? Does this mean I don't love my baby? Am I not bonding with my baby enough? We tack on all these layers of judgment that can create a longer experience of DMER itself. That can even start to look like postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression. So it's really important to help tease out, when do these feelings start for me? What layers of these feelings am I experiencing before, during, and after breastfeeding? To help identify, is it possibly DMER at the root? Again, we don't know a ton about DMER itself. All we know is these assumptions of what is causing this reaction. But much like many health experiences, particularly of moms, there is not enough research. I don't know if there's ever been one concrete physiological research study on DMER. There's more now emerging with the mental health impact. There's a lot we still don't know about it. But at least we have some language now to describe the process itself and what it's linked to.
What I'm wondering too, I'm curious about, you said there's the physical reaction. There's also this, what happens after.
Yeah.
And that is where my mind often went. I had postpartum anxiety and depression, and it just really knocked me on my feet. But early on, and I've talked about this before, very early on, like the first month or two, I was experiencing rage, and it would come on, and I didn't understand it. I have a distinct memory. It was the second night at home. It was like somewhere around 2 a.m. and I'm trying to breastfeed, and I just burst into tears, and my husband wakes up, of course. He goes, what do you need? What's going on?
Yes.
And I'm like, I need you to take her because I feel like I just want to throw her like a hot potato to you. And he was mortified. But I think it's such a good conversation to have around those things, because I don't know if you've seen the older show Scrubs. There's
oh my God, I'm obsessed.
A particular episode where they talk about postpartum.
Yes.
And it's one of my favorite episodes, even before I was a mom. Yes. And it was one of those conversations where, wow, I didn't realize, even though this is a comedic show, I didn't realize
it's great.
that this is like real stuff.
Yeah, it was real content too, of like, right, you can have these experiences and it doesn't have to impact your own perception of yourself as a mother, and it doesn't have to impact the relationship you have with your child. It's very hard to not have those two things be impacted if you have no language for what it is that you're experiencing.
Well, I'm very excited to get more language about what is going on when it comes to all the different seasons of motherhood. I'm super excited to have you on board. And if anyone would like to get your tickets, you can go to mentalhealthmomevent.com and you can find out information about what that experience is going to be like, as well as get a link to the tickets. They are on sale now for $25, and recordings are available no matter what. If you get the standard ticket, you can watch for up to a week. If you want to upgrade, you can watch for up to a year. So I'm trying to make it as flexible as possible for everybody.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's such a gift.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and we will talk to you guys later.
Nice to meet you.